So it can be a bit overwhelming wondering where to put your money at or save your money for the most interest. And I'm not gonna lie, even I have trouble with this from time to time. So in this video, I want to talk about 5 banks where I would say are doing a pretty good job right now, considering all things. But there are a few disclaimers. First and foremost, the banks that I talk about in this video has to be FDIC approved up to a certain amount. Meaning, if you have a certain amount of money in these banks, even if the bank fails, they have to give you a certain amount back. So they have to be FDIC approved up to a certain amount. These banks have to have a checking and savings account in order for it to be included in this video. So if I'm missing a bank that you really like because it has a good high yield savings account, that probably won't be included in this video because I want this bank to be more so an all-around kind of bank for the average individual. But with that being said, all the banks that I talk about in this video will have high yield savings account or high interest accounts where you put money in, you make more money than the traditional bank, and it has to offer a few more banking products than the average bank. Like some banks only offer a high yield savings account or a good savings account. So if it only offers one product, then I'm probably not going to mention it in this video. And last but not least, I'm not going to mention any fintech companies, basically financial technology companies like Chime, because I know a lot of people do like that bank. I personally have Chime, but in this video, for the sake of majority of people, because I have heard bad experiences from fintech companies lately, and I've been seeing it all over the internet. So I'm not going to mention any fintech companies in this video simply because the majority of people probably won't feel that comfortable leaving their money there, and I don't want to recommend something that can eventually fall off or something bad can happen in the future. So with that being said, let's get into the video. So let's start this video off with Ally Bank, which became a bank in 2009. They're FDIC insured up to $250,000, and their checking account has no minimum deposit to open the account and no maintenance fees as well. And their checking account does have an APY up to 0.25%, which is better than nothing. And the savings account that they offer also doesn't have no minimum deposit in order to open that savings account. And at the time of filming this video, they have a 4.20% APY for their savings account. So that's a good place to park your money if you want it to grow over time. That is very competitive compared to all the other banks and all the other savings accounts. So I would say they have a pretty good deal going on at Ally Bank currently at the time of filming this video. They also offer CDs, IRAs, car loans, and more. Access to any all-point ATMs in the US with over 55,000 locations. But a cool thing that Ally Bank also does is reimburse you up to $10 per statement cycle for any ATM charges you may incur over that time. And as far as trustworthiness, I would say Ally Bank is a pretty trustworthy bank, considering I do have a car loan out with them and I haven't had any trouble. I love their app. It's very easy to use and very easy to understand. So for the most part, I would say from all the information I gathered, the videos I watched to create this video, I would say they are a pretty trustworthy bank. And one last disclaimer, the information that I'm talking about in this video is subject to change and will change over time. So make sure you do your own due diligence and own research before signing up for any bank. Now, the next bank on this list is a pretty familiar bank. Everyone knows them for their credit cards, but American Express. They actually became a bank in 2008. This bank is FDIC insured up to $250,000. And one thing I like about the American Express checking account, there are no fees to open up the account. There are no minimum deposits and there's no monthly fees as well. And you also can earn 1 MR point for every $2 you spend. And if you are to transfer those MR points to transfer partners, you can look at that 1 MR point like 1 cent per point. That's how you can kind of value it. Obviously, if you do it differently, that will devalue that MR point. But if you wanted to kind of calculate how much that actually means, like every $2 is 1 MR point, but that's a pretty cool perk. And you also can earn 1% APY in your checking account, which is more than Ally Bank with the 0.25%, but it was up to that amount. So I think that's pretty neat that American Express offers that with their checking account. And as far as the savings account go, there are no minimum balances and no monthly fees, which is pretty cool. And don't forget, you also get 4.25% APY in that savings account. So I do think that is a cool perk. And personally, I am a fan of American Express. I'm not a fan of all their products, but I do have a few American Express products. Obviously, you got to take it with a grain of salt. If you know about American Express, they're not accepted everywhere, but that's some pretty good benefits from a checking and savings account. And the bank also offers CDs, personal loans, and of course, credit cards. American Express been around for quite some time, a very trustworthy bank by many. So this bank is obviously built to trustworthiness over time, but for the most part, I think it's safe to say that American Express is a trustworthy bank. And if you were to leave a certain amount of money in this bank, I think it's safe to say that you should expect that money to still be there. Next on the list is Discover, which became a bank in the year of 2000, and they are FDIC insured up to $250,000. The Discover checking account has no fees at all, but not only that, you can actually earn 1% cash back on up to $3,000 in debit card purchases each month, which is pretty cool and unheard of for most checking accounts. So I actually do like that feature from the Discover Bank. The savings account has no monthly fees and no minimum opening deposits, and the savings account also offers 4.25% at the time of filming this video, which is rivaling the American Express savings account at 4.25%, but higher than the Ally Bank savings account sitting at 4.20%. So I would say for the most part, Discover is really offering a lot from their checking and savings account. And I must say, this is one of those banks I was actually interested in a while ago, but a few things happened. Funny enough, I actually tried to get the Discover It credit card and I got declined for that one when I first started my credit journey, and I had a segue, but enough about that. They also offer IRA accounts and CD accounts with over 60,000 no-fee ATMs. And as far as trustworthiness, Discover has been a bank for quite some time, and they've been offering banking products for as long as I know. So I would say they have gained the trust of many as well. So I wouldn't say you should have to worry about much from Discover, especially that they are FDIC insured up to $250,000. And for the most part, me personally, although I do not have this bank, this is my favorite bank on the list. So I don't know if that says a lot, but there it is. So next on the list is Capital One as a bank, but they did not become a bank until 2005, which I actually was surprised by that. I thought Capital One was a bank longer than that. They actually were just a credit card company before they became a bank. So interesting fact for anybody ever wondering that. But they did not become a bank until 2005. The Capital One 360 checking account is FDIC insured up to $250,000, which is pretty typical across most banks. It has the 360 checking account and the 360 performance savings account. So the Capital One checking account, or the 360 checking account, has no monthly fees, no minimum fees, and no overdraft fees. The Capital One 360 performance savings account also has no monthly or maintenance fees and no minimum requirements. And at the time of filming this video, their savings account is offering 4.25% APY, which I think is pretty generous. And Capital One also offers credit cards, of course, as well as auto loans, CDs, and other business and commercial banking tools as well. They also have over 70,000 fee-free ATMs and Capital One cafes where you can go in for banking, coffee, and workspaces. And as far as trustworthiness, I have Capital One. I use Capital One for many different things throughout my life. I've had car loans with Capital One, and everything always went very smoothly. Obviously, they have their negative points, but for the most part, you can expect your money to still be in your bank if you bank with Capital One from my experience. Obviously, everybody has their own experiences, but I've been using Capital One for quite some time, not just for their banking, but credit cards, car loans, and many other things. So as far as trustworthiness, I think Capital One has proven themselves as a bank for many years now. And if you're interested in signing up for any of these banks, I will put some links that I have down in the description of the banks that I use personally. If I do not use the bank personally, I'll try to find the best links that you can go to. But if you use my links, it may be some competitive kickback, or you might get something for using that link. So go to the website, sign up, do some more research, do your own due diligence before signing up for any bank. Make sure that bank meets your financial needs and help you get to your financial goals. Last on the list is SoFi, which is currently my favorite bank I actually have, which officially became a bank in 2022 They were formerly a fintech company, but they hit the ground running and they did a lot of good things in banking. Like they are FDIC insured up to $2 million, which is clearly higher than the other banks that we talked about in this video so far. SoFi Bank consists of SoFi checking account and the SoFi savings account. This comes with no account fees, meaning no overdraft fees, no monthly fees, and no minimum balance requirements. The SoFi savings account also has no account fees, but also has this thing called votes to help you sort your savings, and has automatic savings to help you reach certain goals. And at the time of filming this video, the SoFi savings account is offering 4.60% APY, which that does come with stipulations, and you do have to do certain things in order to unlock that savings account, but for the most part, it's not difficult to unlock that savings account. So I have to say that is a pretty good perk, and I do utilize that personally. And SoFi does offer multiple banking products such as the checking account, the savings account. They also have a credit card. They also give you personal loans, mortgage loans, and even investment accounts and other helpful banking tools as well. And SoFi also has 12 office locations and over 55,000 fee-free ATM locations. So as far as trustworthiness with SoFi, me personally, I haven't had any bad experiences with SoFi, but they are a very young company. They just became a bank in 2022, so a lot can happen. We have to see for the foreseeable future to make sure that they stay on track and keep growing the way they have been growing lately. But I am just a guy on the internet, so make sure you do your own due diligence, do your own research, make sure this bank fits your financial needs, and then go from there. So those are 5 banks that I would recommend highly at the time of filming this video. And obviously I did not go over all the details of these banks, and I could go deeper on each bank. If you would like to hear that, comment below. Let me know which banks that you want to know a little bit more information about, and I will do my due diligence to try to give you the best information possible about the banks that you're the most interested in. But for the most part, that's the banks that I would highly recommend. Obviously, this is not financial advice, but it's more so banks that I think are doing a really good job right now. They're on a upwards trajectory. I think the future looked really bright for these banks personally, but obviously time will tell. But with that being said, I'll see y'all on the next one.